Hey you guys, love you guys, it's Jonathan, and welcome to a new Sims 4 build. This one I'm really excited about. This is Rosemary block, and this is the first part, and we're building the exteriors today. So this build started with an idea I had, which was to build an underground coffee house. I wanted to sort of like a combination between Central Perk from Friends and then the bar from How I Met Your Mother, which is basically a basement. Those two combined are something I thought would be really cool to build. So that's what I'm doing, or at least trying to do here today. But when I started building this, I wanted it to feel like it belonged somewhere. So I needed to build a block of houses or buildings. And that's exactly what we're doing. So this is Rosemary's block. It's in my thought like a block of buildings that exists for a long time, and just a lot of community is involved in this. I don't know, it gave me a lot of good vibes, this one. So Rosemary block is a few things. It's a couple of stores, I think a restaurant, a little cheeky garden in the back, an apartment upstairs, and of course the basement coffee house. So that's what Rosemary block is. I really want to do the interiors of the coffee house. I might do the interiors of the other buildings, but I'm not sure yet because that was not really what I wanted to do, and I'm not sure if I got enough inspiration to build those. But we'll see where we get. We'll see how it goes. For now, let's talk about what we're actually doing on screen, and that's this. We've created this massive facade, and now we're starting to work on the first building. At this point, I was still really struggling with how everything was gonna look, but as we sort of progress in this video, I think it all comes together very nicely. So this first building is on the corner, and it's in my ideas, or in my head, this is the oldest building, and it's sort of I think a restaurant. It could be a pub or a bar, a hangout place, but just like a community building that has been there for such a long time. I think that really is something that would be there. So the style for this building is this very beautiful dark wood on the bottom, and then upstairs bricks. I think it's a really good contrast, and it really works together nicely, especially with the doors and the windows that we go for. Now, as you can see, I was really struggling with finding the good doors. I wanted to go with something modern, but now looking at it, the sort of an older style really makes more sense. So I'm glad I went with that. Then the windows, just nothing that fancy, again in the same style. I was struggling a little bit with now you can put the windows like everywhere, but two windows cannot be on the same tile. I forget that quite often. So quite often I'm like struggling with the windows. I'm like, why are you not working? And then that's why. Also this roof, I come back to this roof like many times because I'm terrible at roofing. That's not a secret. My previous builds have been very easy in the roofs. I love making buildings with a flat roof, or with like a garden roof or something like that, because then I don't have to work with a roofing tool in the game. But on this build I kind of had to, and it shows. I'm not happy with all of the roofs on this block, but at a certain point I was like, you know what? I'm not giving up, but it's okay. It's fine. Let's move along, because otherwise I will be spending like 10 hours on just a simple roof, and I was not gonna do that. So yeah. Using these windows, I think they're from university, but they're really, really awesome. I like them. I use them too much, but honestly, I don't care. I don't care. And then this window from the, I don't know from what pack, but I use that window also a lot, and it's just gorgeous. I love it. I would love to have an apartment myself that would have those windows, and then like 2 stories high. Oh, that sounds amazing. Anyway, some plans and some window details, these little balconies, sort of like finishing off the look and feel of it. And now, like, sort of at this point in the build, I started to get a sense of direction that I wanted to go with, which I quite often have. Like, that I start building on something without really knowing where it's gonna end, or I might have like a basic idea, and once you get into the groove, it just becomes more and more clear what the building wants to be. So yeah, that was kind of what happened here as well. I love to add these little beams. I have no idea what they're called, but they're adding so much detail. They're so simple, but they add so much. So yeah, I use them as well. Then some flooring. I'm actually kind of doubting if I kept this. I don't know, but I like it. Then some green here on the wall. If I can slap on some green on a wall, I will. I will. So that's what I did here. Yeah, and then just finishing off the side of the building and the roof. Yeah, I'm tackling the roof now. It just honestly, guys, I've watched other simmers do like roof tutorials on YouTube. I follow them, and it just doesn't work for me. I don't know what I do wrong. Like, at this point I wanted to put a table in the middle of the roof, and I was like, no, that's not gonna work either. I was upset with myself. I wanted a beer, I wanted a wine, I just wanted, God, I just was frustrated with myself. But eventually this is what I landed on, and I was like, you know what, this is good enough. It's not perfect, but then again, it's also not that ugly either. So you know what, we'll just go with it. It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, not my favorite thing to do, roofing. Added some detail on the roof. That is something I do know how to do a little bit better. And again, those are like those details that really finish off the build, in my opinion, and really make it look like it's something that belongs there. So yeah, I really like that. But that is the first building, and that's a restaurant. And this restaurant actually is bigger than just this building, but we'll see that at the end. But we're moving on to the second building, which is kind of an in-betweener. It's 3 tiles wide, and I think I think it's some sort of a clothing store. That's what I made of it in the end. Like, I've not done interiors or something like that, so I have no idea what it's going to be, but I think it's a clothing store. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. But it's a nice little cheeky store. It's a 1-level store, by the way. The upstairs is going to be an apartment, but I really like it. It's a fun little place. Yeah, and it's kind of there as sort of an in-between building. This is what I do quite often. I will just go through the catalog for hours and get some stuff that look cute. And here I found some signs, clothing signs, so I added that. Also adding some lamps to really make this block come alive and sort of give it a vibe of community, like the community works on this together. And then some trash bins, a bench to sit on, just really making it all fit in together very nicely. So yeah, I think it turned out quite nice, if I say so myself, and I do. Anyway, some small details like an airco unit, and then I was looking for a sign, and I went with the share sign. I have no idea what the sign says, but to me it says either share or it's the O of Oprah. That's the two things that it reminds me of a lot. So it's either one of those two, but which one it is, I'm living for it because those two are both icons and I enjoy it. Anyway, we're going to the next building. And this is a building I really like. It's not that over the top as the first building, but it's simple yet really cute and adorable. I love the color scheme that we went for on this building. So yeah, I am really there for this one. What this building is, I have no idea. I would imagine it to be something in the lines of I've thought of like a thrift store, like a community-based store, where you can drop off your old clothing, your old stuff, and people who need them, who don't have the money right now, they can come in here and get those stuff for a cheap price. I think that's a really lovely idea, like a community-based store where everybody helps each other. So that's the kind of an idea I went with, and yeah. Again, for this one, I've not done an interior yet. I might do that in a future video, but I don't know yet. I'm not sure how to do that. So if you have an idea for what should be in this store or in any other stores, other buildings, let me know, and I'll try to build something cool out of it. So let me know in the comments. I would really love that. The upstairs with these cute pink balconies. If there's one thing you make me happy with, it's pink. Pink. I love pastels. Like I don't like the vibrant pinks, but the pastel colors. Oh, honey. Yes. So anything with those colors, I would want to use in a build. Here on the side, I decided to create this little moment to just make the building look a little bit more interesting, because otherwise it was just really boxy and I wanted to avoid that. So yeah. And it also has a second door. I think that's nice as well. Like this little second moment where you can enter. Then some windows. I decided to go with the same windows as upstairs. Again, a cute balcony. And then I also wanted upstairs some flowers, because you can never have enough flowers. Darling, let me tell you, if somebody says to you that's too much flowers or too many plants, just slap them across the face, because you can never have too much flowers and too much plants. I don't know why, but to me, plants and flowers just make a build come alive, and I'm there for that. So yeah, a lot of flowers. Um, some more flowers. These little hanging pots, they're adorable, and I use them around this building. They just look cute and awesome, and yeah, I'm there for that. So yeah, this building is coming along very nicely. I love the colors, like the white below and then the bricks upstairs. It's really cute, and I use some flags on this on the windows, and then some small little lights as well to really finish it off. So yeah, I really like this build. Oh, I also added some lights upstairs above the windows, and I did the same on this first building. So I thought it gave it a little bit more detail. So yeah, really cute build, this one. I also added this little plaque in the corner because it's something I see quite often here in the Netherlands where I live, is when a street or a building is sort of like a monument or something historical, they put a plaque on it. So this street, like Rosemary's Block, I would imagine is very historical, and yeah. So this is Zipafanet. I have no idea how you say it, but that's this one. And my idea, as I said, it was a thrift store based on locals. But yeah, let me know if you got any better ideas for it, any cooler ideas. I really want to hear that. Then we're going to the back of it all, and on the back side I wanted to create this little balcony moment at first, because at first it was like, this is just going to be the thrift store and the clothing store. And then as I was building this little back area, I looked at it and went like, you know what, I think this could be a really cool upstairs apartment, like above the thrift store and the clothing store. So like this space that I mapped out now, that would be like a really cute apartment, and that's what we went for because I liked it, and yeah, I wanted to do it. That's basically it. So in this corner we created this little staircase moment, which I am living for. I think it looks so cute, this little staircase. And I know the balcony is not really usable. I think you could fit one chair on it and it's done, but I just like it. I just like the way it looks, and yeah, I really do. I really do. So yeah, I also made the roof flat on this part, just to sort of have some different roofings around the build, and then trying to figure out a little window there that wasn't too big because you have the staircase going up there. So I didn't want to do something where I needed a plan in front of it. But yeah, it's just a really nice little landing, and then an upstairs apartment. Now we're going on to the basement. This is this floor plan is going to change in the next video, because in the next video we're actually doing the interior of the basement coffee house. But I just wanted to get an idea of the size that there was for this, and yeah, I'm really living for it, and it's going to. I've built the coffee house, by the way, and it's awesome in my opinion. In my honest opinion, I love it. I truly do. But yeah, so the basement has these bricks. Are we keeping with the bricks? I'm looking at what I'm doing myself, but I think so, yeah. And I wanted these big glass moments here. I first was thinking like a door and then glass windows, but then I realized we have these new sliding doors, which look awesome. So I went with those, and I would imagine in the summer or when it's warm outside, they would just open up those doors, and I continue the bricks on the inside a little bit, So it just feels like when you open the doors, it just feels like it's one big open area, and I love that. This little corner here, I would have imagined, has been there for such a long time. So I've created this overgrown feel. It just feels very old, but again, it also feels like very cozy, warm, inviting, and that was really the vibe I wanted to go with. So I think it really worked out here. Now I wanted to use those same windows from university, but I've used them in this build in particular on already 2 buildings, so I wanted to use something different, and I went with these ones. I have no idea where they're from, but I love the sort of a mustard color on it, that green. Yeah, so I really like this building. And this building, by the way, with the green windows, it's all part of the restaurant. So the restaurant is quite big on the inside. So yeah, I really like it. I really like it. Yeah. So at this point, I was still making this like one big building. So from the restaurant onwards, one big building, and it just felt a little bit wrong to me, and I didn't quite knew what it was. But here you see that I am trying something out with the pillars, and again it just doesn't give me that vibe. And then on the back I kind of had it with the wall, the white wall there, and I felt like, yeah, that's a good contrast. So I'm going to do the same on the front here. Some flowers. Always gotta add some flowers. But let's go into the history of this block, because that's something I always love to do, like going into the history of the builds that I make. And in my sort of imagination, this block, the rosemary block, has been around for years. It's at this point a monument, and the government said, you know, you cannot just demo or change it up, so it's really there to stay. And I think this block would be a big sort of a spot, hangout spot for like the local community. Like, this would not be the place for people from outside of the city, but for like the locals. The locals would come here and would hang out here. Also, by the way, I gave this coffee house some pride flags because, honey, we're in 2020 and I just love being a part of the pride community. So a little shout out there, and some outside seating. But yeah, as I said, this is the place for local community. You know, I think that this coffee house has like local music artists performing on Thursday nights and in the weekends, and the restaurant has like it's the place for locals. Like, people from outside of the city don't really go to the restaurant, but the locals do. The same with the thrift store. I would imagine it to be again something where mostly locals bring stuff, and also locals get their stuff. So I feel like this build is really something for a local community, and maybe that's why I love it so much. I think it's a really nice idea. So this middle building is white. It has that white moment. I really like it between the two darker buildings. And I put this metal beam in the middle, which I would imagine the community, like a couple of years ago, because the coffee house is such an important part of this community. Like a couple of years ago, when because this is such an old building, this particular white building was sort of like sinking a little bit, and they had to shut down the coffee house. And then the local community gathered, they raised money, to build this, to buy this beam, to build this beam that holds up the structure so that the coffee house could stay open. I think that's just a lovely little story to add to this build. Like, it's really something that the community wants, and I would see myself drinking coffee at this coffee house every day before work or in my breaks. Yeah, I don't know, I just love it. Then we go on to the back, where I have this little patch of nothing, and I thought, what would be cooler than like a little garden area that would probably be from the people that own the apartment. They have like this little garden moment, and they decided to grow some stuff here, some roses, some herbs, maybe, I don't know, just a little cheeky garden. And at first I wanted to use the seeds and the things that they could grow themselves or plant themselves, but I didn't want it to be like seasonal, and I just wanted to have like cute shots of it. So I went with some regular flowers from the catalog, and I think it just looks really nice. I'm not a gardener myself. I do love plants. I got a bunch of plants in my own house, but yeah, I'm not a gardener. So, but I do love this little garden, and these lights just, they make it come alive so much. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. But yeah, that is the build. We're getting on to the screenshots. In the next video, we're gonna do the interior of the coffee house in the basement. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I think it's a really cool build, and I cannot wait to show you more. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Instagram. But for now, hey you guys, love you guys, and see you in the next one. Bye!